How you feeling? What's the emotions?
A lot of stuff. I've kind of been thinking about this, the last couple of days, and kind of made my peace with it individually. But had a lot of texts and a lot of people, contacting me and comments on Twitter and Facebook and all that cool stuff, and trying to respond to them all I can. So just a little bit hectic, but it's cool.
After the final stage, how did you kind of balance the decision with like how much status you had and all of that? Like what kind of went into that?
So we basically, being a member of the web.com was a big step. Obviously, that's not a guarantee, for next year or the year after that. So being a member of the web.com is huge and kind of underrated thing. And so, obviously, if I can, get in one early and play well, I can reshuffle up and basically play the whole year. So that's kind of the vague plan on that side. But then, the PGA Tour is almost the more guaranteed. I can, hopefully get, some spots over there and try to play well there. So it came down to just as much, as I just felt mentally ready and, excited to go. And that was most of the decision there.
What do you get into web-wise, and what are you hoping to get into tour-wise?
The PGA Tour, I'm hoping to get my 7 spots. That's the limit on the PGA Tour. That's my goal. Obviously, that's not a lock by any means. I have to, write tournament directors and, ask for a spot. It's up to them, but hopefully make myself available for that. And as far as web, that's a lot harder, question to answer, because directly off status, I may get in a few, but it's more important if I can, either get a sponsor's invite or Monday qualifying to one of those early ones and play well, and that really sets you up for the rest of the year.
So you don't know for sure yet when your first tournament's going to be?
I don't know for sure yet. I'm guessing sometime in late January. That would be my guess.
That's there down in Bahamas and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Full swing. Okay. I guess why now? Like you accomplished so much, and I think some people thought that maybe coming back this fall, like what made now the right time?
Like I said, I was kind of, I was close to the decision after junior year. Like people, after I won NCAAs and stuff, people, thought that was a very realistic time, which it really wasn't, because I didn't have my life in order. I didn't have anything figured out. I didn't know how the tours worked. I didn't know where I would be playing, all that. So I was never, mentally ready at all. And then, after junior seasons, when I first seriously considered it and, thought about how everything was going to work and where I'd be. And, but I knew either way, if I turned pro, after my junior season or now, I was going to have to do Q school. So I was like, I love, being at Ole Miss. I love, being on the golf team and all that. And I can do that exact same thing while, being exempt to second stage as an amateur and stuff like that. So it was basically the same route either way. And, this way I got to play the 5 events, at Ole Miss, hang out with my teammates, be on the team and try to get better. So it kind of was an easy decision to come back for me. But, the tough decision was obviously, right now.
What do you think you learned the most kind of from that first moment that you had the chance to go pro to now actually making the decision?
I don't know specifics. I really didn't know anything. After sophomore year, I hadn't even given it thought. I mean, I watched the PGA Tour on TV. I watched, guys on the web, and I knew some guys on the web, but I didn't know how Q school worked. I didn't know, what I had to shoot to get through second stage. I didn't know what position you had to finish at final. So, I mean, to answer your question, kind of everything. I really didn't know anything, and I've learned more and more each semester when that thought is came up of potentially turning pro, and just kind of more and more as it went on.
How do you handle what is your kind of plan for as far as working out and practicing and all that, and kind of balancing now, because obviously it is your full-time gig?
Yeah, that's a good question. You've probably seen I plan on staying here at least the first year or two. Could be long term, but at least the first year or two to kind of keep everything as similar as I can to what my life has been, the last 4 years. And as far as working out, I'm figuring that out. Coach Riley, actually got to work out in with him today, and he's an awesome guy, and he's been a big help to us, this semester. So potentially, working with him or, outsourcing somewhere else. And as far as practice, our great new facility, I mean, we spent a ton of money on it, had great, designers and everything, and it's as good as it gets. It's perfect to practice on. You can hit any shot you need to, and I mean, pro or amateur, I mean, that's good. So whether you're in college or doing what I'm doing, it's a good spot.
Looping wise, do you have a plan? Are you going to kind of use some local guys? What's kind of your thought process as far as that?
I've had Matthew Ackett's has caddied for me, basically the last 3, I guess, professional tournaments that I've played in. So he would be, obviously I haven't done any type of locking that in or anything, but we've talked, and that's a very good option. That's all I have right now, but he's probably my leading candidate right now, and that would be pretty cool to have a experienced caddy out on the PGA Tour, and for him to kind of know the ropes, and it's not both of us figuring it out, it's just me.
When you look back at your time here, what do you think you can remember most fondly?
Probably just, I mean, hanging out with my teammates. The golf is cool, going to Hawaii is cool, Cabo, all that. But, mainly just, being at the locker room, having qualifying with your teammates and just having that, bond with, I guess, probably 20 total people, that they've kind of came in, from my freshman year through now. And just kind of what they've taught me, not even necessarily golf-wise, just life-wise and just getting better as a person, understanding just life in general. That's probably been the biggest thing. The golf has been really cool, and we've had a lot of good opportunities there. But just my teammates in general, they've been awesome.
You're kind of the centerpiece of how Malloy kind of turned this whole thing around. You mentioned looking back to freshman year. How different is this program now than it was 3.5 years ago?
It's so different. What I'd heard coming into college, it didn't have a great reputation. It wasn't a golf school by any means. And when Coach Malloy got there, that completely changed the vibe of everything. The recruits he was getting, the mentality of the team, everything. And even though it was some of those same guys, my freshman year that were on the team before, they completely had made, 180 and bought into the program. And I think it's really cool, the timing that I had, I was able to, get in there and, kind of mutually, he was able to really help me become a better player. And, I was able to, do some of the stuff I did, put the program on the map a little bit. So I think just both ways it's worked out great.
Obviously, the mental side of things is big as a pro. Like, you've never really been one to let, like, bad play get to you. Is that something you'll kind of be more conscious on, because it can kind of be a grind playing, a lot of weeks, a lot of rounds?
Yeah, I'm going to try to, basically, like I said, with living here, try to keep everything the same as I can. It's still golf, and, whether I'm playing in, the FedEx St. Jude Classic as an amateur or pro, I'm hitting the same ball and I'm playing the same holes. So you can't really control how you play necessarily. It might be, a little more important for me to play well on certain opportunities, but I can't really let that, bother me at all, because it is what it is. And, if I go miss a cut by 10 or go win, I mean, it's the same thing, and I'll be teeing it up, the next week and just going from there, really.
What are you most excited
about? Kind of just, the next step. In junior golf, you kind of, you play a lot of the same events, and, you kind of rise to the top, and, there's, a handful of guys that are kind of the best ones there. And then the same thing with college. We've kind of gotten a rotation of, playing similar events and going to great spots. And, luckily I've, kind of been able to rise to the, one of the top guys here. So kind of just doing the same thing there, and, playing a new schedule, and, playing just professional golf in general is just a lot different. So kind of getting used to that, as well as, becoming one of the best players in the world.
Do you have guys on the tour that you've been talking to throughout this process?
Not super recently, but I've talked to guys like Ollie Schneider, Jans, Maverick McNeely, guys that have been in similar positions to me, like, #1 AMs and coming out of college. And basically what they've told me is, everybody's decision's way different. What might be, both of those guys stayed all 4 years in school, similar to what I did. And then, I've talked to some people that turned pro after 1 year. And it doesn't necessarily, there's not a right or wrong decision, but it's just when the right time is for you. And like we said, I've thought about it, starting sophomore year, and this is when I thought the right time for me was.